Hi friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Tonight I'm going to just be putting together just something in the pan. Basically, I had some small pieces of pork in the freezer and I had a bunch of vegetables. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to put something together. This is how I generally cook. I just take a look at what's in the freezer, what's on my shelves, what's in the refrigerator, what do I have for produce, and I go with that. So today we're going to be working with some pork chops, and I'm going to throw in some vegetables such as onions. I had an onion I had used part of already, so I'll be using that up. I have some little bit of broccoli left over. I'll throw that in. Some zucchini, possibly some fennel, and whatever else I decide to put in there. I hope you're up for this, but basically what I like to do is create from what I have and not worry about the recipe books. Now I have tons of recipe books and I do follow recipes to some degree, but I'm just more comfortable with what I'm doing here. And it's been a long day. We've both been working really hard and I just want to throw something quick and simple together for dinner tonight. So I'm going to let you watch in on this, okay? And don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. So first thing, I'm going to line my pan up with some olive oil. That's what I'm using today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the onions started just so that it can start getting all cooked and getting the flavor through there. And I'm trying to see, yep, you can see. And I don't worry about too many, how big the pieces are, because even though my husband doesn't like large pieces of onions, by the time this is caramelized in the pan, it won't be too bad. He'll be fine. So we'll start the oven. And some of the things I have are just small pieces from the garden that I'm just picking as I go. Like the beans that I'm getting in the garden, it's not amounting enough for me to can. But I might as well enjoy them while they're fresh, and that's the way I prefer with the garden stuff. Maybe next year my garden will be heftier on the beans and peas and stuff. And I'm not disappointed in that because this is the first time I've tried doing a lot of vegetables. I am expecting to have tomatoes, which will be nice. And I'm not sure on the zucchini, so I go day to day, see what's out there. And I was gifted with some vegetables too, so I'm going to take advantage of those. And I'll get the pork chops in a little bit. We don't eat a lot of pork chops, but I also don't believe in wasting what might already be in the freezer. So I'm going to cook that up. Our preferred meats are chicken, beef, fish, but we're going to use this pork. But then again, we like bacon, so I'm gonna move this off. Sorry about the noise. I have some broccoli, like I mentioned. It was something I had started, so I'm gonna just get this going, just to get them softly cooked. Throw them in. And I could have put them in the, I could have put them in the a salad and stuff like that, but I've decided not to do that. So I have some little zucchinis here. So I'm going to throw a few of these in. A couple of them have some bad spots, so just cut the bad spots off. Because most of the zucchini was fine, so I just said I'll take, you know, I can work with that. So I have red onions, broccoli, and zucchini in here so far. It looks pretty good. Smells good too. No seasonings added yet. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. And one of the things that I am getting in my garden are a few beans. I haven't grown beans in a long time, so I have both red and green. So I'm going to take a few of them and put some of those in as well. So I'll cut off the ends. I remember snapping beans when I was a young girl with my grandmother. I should have snapped these already before I started, but now, and I realize a lot of people boil their beans. I have a tendency to just cook things right up. And sometimes I boil them, but and again, if you remember, it's just a meal for both my husband and I, so we don't need to cook up a lot. And if I can just cook in small quantities, I don't have to have leftovers in the refrigerator. All right, what I want to do now is I'm going to cut up some fennel, and I'm going to add that in. If you've never had fennel, you want to get rid of the stalks here, because the tender part is in here. So I'm going to start there. And I can keep the green tops for another time to put on a salad. So I will save those. Get rid of the parts that don't look the greatest. I'm going to just cut off the root part. Fennel has a very sweet scent to it. It is just a delight to have. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut it down, but I'm going to get rid of this hard piece here that's kind of like a stem. I'm just going to get rid of that. And all of this that's in here already is browning up really nice. I don't know if you can see it, but it's browning up quite lovely. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to put the pork pieces in here while I work on the fennel, just to get these browned on both sides. I think sometimes when we see a new vegetable, people can be intimidated because it's not your typical vegetable. That's why I wanted to show how I work with fennel. And I use it differently all the time. Like you can put fennel straight into your salad. It just adds a different type of flavor to it. And I might actually save some of this. So I think I'm going to save some of that fennel for a salad tomorrow. Alright, what else do I got in here? Got some small tomatoes. Yeah, the tomatoes coming out of the garden seem to be a little small in my opinion, but I have some others that are coming along and are doing fine. Turning this pork chop over to the other side because the one side has browned really nicely. And the vegetables are all doing fabulously. You can see how the pork is browning lovely and the beautiful green on the broccoli is coming right through. I think that's all I'm going to put into here. I'll put the tomatoes in towards the end. I decided not to use all these extras because this will be more than enough for David and I. And there's an extra pork in here, so I try to check to make sure the pork is doing well before I say supper's ready. One of them seems to need to cook a little bit longer. The nice thing about summer vegetables is the fact of how pretty the meals look when they're all done. I just like the brilliance of the beautiful summer colors of the green and the reds and stuff like that. Another thing you can do with something like this is cut your meat up into small pieces before you start. And it cooks a little bit faster and a little bit more well-rounded and stuff. So, I don't know if you can. If you've never had fennel, you ought to take a look. You ought to pick one up and try it. And remember, these greens, which they call fronds, you can put them as a garnish on any of your food, or chop it up and put it into your salad. Has a beautiful flavor. I try hard to clean as I go so that when it's time to do the dishes, I don't have to worry about everything else. All right. So what I have here is a beautiful plate of a small pork chop and some vegetables, which are broccoli, some beans from the garden, the broccoli's from the garden, some zucchini. Let's see, what else did I put in here? I forget while I go. Some fennel, and I added some tomatoes at the end, and the onion. So that's all I do, is I kind of like do a little bit of stir fry with the vegetables, and then I add a little bit of meat. We don't eat meat all the time, but this will make for a really lovely dinner, and I look forward to enjoying it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and as always, be kind. Have a great night, and God bless.